to be doing a run through of the dynamic combat system and just be going over a few things that are handy to know if you're creating a new project and you don't know the system well already. So here I've created a clean dynamic combat system project. First thing we're going to take a look at is the save function. So here if I play, I've dropped my weapons and I saved it, and now I don't have any of my weapons that saved where I was there. So let's see if I drop my arrows. Let's drop the fireball spell too. I can't drop it because it's equipped. Oh, I guess you can't even drop that one. Now if I hit P, and it quick saves, when I go to play again, I don't have anything now because it saved my items. So when you're testing your game, you don't really want that to happen. So what we need to do here is go and open the blueprints folder, open the DCS game mode, disconnect this here so it doesn't auto-save or auto-load. Right here you want to delete game in slot. It's a slot name. You can just duplicate this variable here and plug it in there. There we go. Now we got all our weapons back. Even if we save it. Let's drop our stuff. Save it. And we still got all our stuff when we restart. And when you want to go and reconnect it, all you gotta do is delete this. And then connect these two here. Okay. So the next thing we're going to look at is adding and removing items from player. So in the blueprints folder, there is the BP combat character blueprint. This is your player character blueprint. If we open that up, if you scroll down in the components tab up here, you've got a lot of components in here. The only one we're going to need, well, actually we'll be needing to look at two of them to change and alter the equipment the player has. So there's the inventory component, which holds all the info for what is in the player's inventory, and the equipment component will decide whether or what things are actually equipped to the player. Like if potions were equipped in the potion slot, you'd want to make sure that you had it set here. But if you just wanted them in your inventory, you'd only add it to the inventory. So when you're adding an item, first you're going to always need to add it to the inventory, because you can't have something on your equipment if you don't have it in your inventory already, because the item won't exist. So if you click on the inventory component here, in the details, under default, open this little arrow right here next to inventory. So right now when the player starts, they have 20 items on them. Some of these are spells, some of them are weapons, there's a potions, some arrows. So we're going to go ahead and just delete all of them, just so I could show you guys how to add them on there. So now when we start the game, we have our save game disabled, so it's not going to load any game, it's going to load exactly what's set in our character. And he has nothing. Empty inventory. And see, all the equipped items are also gone, even though we didn't alter the equipment component, because nothing can be equipped if you don't have it in your inventory first. So each of these with the arrows, that means that you're able to revert it back to its original state, then it's been changed. If we click the arrow up here, it actually reverts all of them. There we go. So if you click each of these arrows, it's going to reset all of these to none, so there won't be anything set to equipped on the combat character, because right now we have nothing in the inventory, so it's best to keep those all clear. Sorry, I got a phone call right there real quick, and now it's going to save. So what I was saying is we need to, okay, we just cleared all of these out because there's no reason to have those set when we just emptied our inventory. So now we're starting from a totally blank character. They have nothing in their inventory, nothing set to be equipped. And we're gonna start with the inventory component here. Open the inventory right here. Well, actually you can't open it now because there's nothing in it. So right here next to array elements, click the little plus sign for add an element. Open it up, and for the item class, this is where you can select your item. I'll be showing you guys how to make new items also in a later video. So let's give the player, let's just do a steel sword. And now on the ID, you only need to set this in the inventory component. You don't need to actually set this in the equipment one. You just leave it as zeros. But we're in the inventory right now, so we're going to go ahead and generate. And set the amount to 1, because we only need one steel sword. And now, if we compile and save that, it's going to be in our inventory, but our player won't have it equipped by default. And there's our steel sword. Now, if we go into the equipment component, you have to find the correct slot for it. So if you open all of these up, you're able to see a little bit better what is what. We are adding a melee weapon to the character to be equipped. So we're going to open up the slots under the melee weapon. He's able to equip up to 3 melee weapons because that's how the equipment menu is set up. It has 3 slots. So we're going to go ahead and just put it in slot 1 because that's what it starts on when you start the game. So we find our steel sword. And that's all we need to set. We don't need to set the amount either. So just set the item class, compile and save. And now the steel sword is equipped on start. So let's go ahead and add some potions too real quick. So we want to go to the inventory first, add a new array element. We're going to give the player 7 potions. And I do want them equipped on start, so I'm going to go ahead and find the tool slot. Okay. We're going to make it the very first one because that's the one that's also set to when the game starts. Now we got a sword and our 7 potions. I'll add one more quickly for just one more example. Let's do a helmet. Just always make sure your item class matches. If you create new weapons, you're going to want to, it'll be named whatever you name it. As long as those match up, you're good. Oh, we don't need to generate the ID here, and we don't need to send them out here. Alright, now we'll be looking at changing some stat values. So let's go back to the combat character. We're going to be looking at the stats manager and also extended health, extended stamina, and extended mana. So the extended stats, if you click on either one of those, they're all going to have the type, and it's already set, you don't need to change that. And then here you can choose whether or not it regenerates, and then the value it regenerates. And then the ruinable regen time is how long it takes after being hit in combat for your health to start regenerating. So right now it's set at 0.5, so it'll start regenerating almost instantly after you get hit. If you want your character to not regenerate health for 10 seconds after being hit in combat, then you'll want to set that to 10. The regen value 1 will be regenerating rather quickly. You'd probably want to set that at a decimal lower than 1. We're going to go ahead and set that to on and put it at 0.5. That's still a bit fast, but just for being able to see it in the game better. Now if you go to your stamina, you'll see it's already on regeneration, and the stamina does regenerate pretty quickly, but that's more normal for a stamina bar. And the mana bar will be similar to the stamina, of course. So those are pretty simple to change. And in the stats manager, here you can open the stats array right here. You got your player's health. So the base value of health you start with, we're going to change that to 200. And your stamina, we'll go with 175. Mana, we'll set to 150. And then also you've got your damage, the base damage. So each weapon that you create, you'll be able to set a damage variable for the weapon itself. And that's going to be added on top of this base value here. So if this base value is 10 and you're holding a weapon that does 12 damage, you're going to do 22 damage per hit. This is your base armor without having any armor on. At about 30, I've found out, it maxes out and you can't get harmed anymore. Critical chance. So this is the chance per hit you have to actually do critical damage to an enemy. And if you set this, it's not actually going to do anything unless you also change the critical multiplier, because that will determine how much the damage is multiplied when you get the critical hit. Attack speed, this is your base attack speed for melee weapons. And if you change it here, it's going to change for every single weapon you hold. If you change this variable inside the weapon blueprint instead, it will change for just that weapon. This is the block variable. The base value is 50, so without any shield you can still block 50% of damage. That's pretty high. I would actually lower that, I think, if I was building a game. And 50 would be good for, let's say, like a weak wooden shield or something. Melee attack stamina cost. This is your base cost of stamina per weapon swing. There's also another way to change it. If you can change it per attack type. In the libraries folder here inside the blueprints folder, open up DCS library. Scale melee attack stamina cost. Open up this function here. So here you can determine on how much more the cost is for certain attacks. So right here, the heavy, special, and thrust are all 1.75. Let's make the special 2.5 because we want it to take a lot of stamina from the player when it's used. Thrust we'll keep there. Actually, the thrust, let's put at 1.25. That's not all that special. So now when we use our special attack, we should see a noticeable difference on how much more stamina it takes. That was a light attack. There's a heavy. And a thrust. And here's a special. So let's even set it a bit higher than that because we want it to take a lot more. Set it to 5. There we go. And that's more fitting if you got a really cool special move, a little bit more than just a spin. So this one here is going to change every single attack type though. This will be just for every weapon. So let's say if you had a skill tree, this would be useful for having a perk that lowers this and makes just all attacks cost less stamina. This is base magic damage. There's also a damage variable in the fireball blueprint, I believe, that stacks with that, but I'm not positive if that damage variable is set up or not. And then casting speed determines on how quickly you can cast one spell after another. So as you saw when we played here a second ago, we changed our health, stamina, and magic. And the stat bars show it because their size increases depending on how much health you have. Next thing we'll be going through, and the last thing for now, probably, is the AI behavior. So if we play here, we got one AI over here that is aggressive. But let's say if we wanted to have an AI that didn't attack us, that's pretty easy to do. So if you open the blueprint folder and open the AI folder, go to example AI. Let's just duplicate this guy here for now. And we'll call him AI Nice. So this guy, we don't actually want to attack us. And where you can set that at is if you open up the AI blueprint in the components tab here, they've got a lot of similar blueprints to the ones the player had. In the stats manager, you can change their stats. You can change their equipment. It works a bit differently for them as they don't need an inventory. They only have the equipment instead. And you just set their weapon to be equipped. Right here in the behavior, go to default and open the enemies array. The only enemy here is BP combat character, so that's the only enemy this AI is going to target. But this is our nice AI, so we actually don't want it to target us. So we're just going to clear it out. So now he has no will to attack us. Yeah, we can still attack him. But what if we wanted him to actually fight the other AI? To do that, inside the behavior component where the combat character was set, we'd actually want to set this AI here, which is BP example AI. And now this AI here still only wants to attack me. Oh, and they can't hit each other. The reason being is because there is a collision handler component which allows you to easily create some friendly fire functions. So in the melee collision handler component here, the open ignored classes. Right now it's ignoring base AI, so it can't hit any other base AI. But we set this one to attack another AI that is a child of the base AI. So if we clear this out, now that AI will be able to attack the other one that is in here, but this one here still can't attack the other one because we need to also set it in this blueprint. So if you click on the melee collision handler here in the normal example AI, just change the ignored classes to none. And now both of these AI can actually attack each other and cause damage. So we're also going to set here, we still want them to attack us, but we also want them to have a second enemy. And we're going to set that to the example AI that we created, the nice one. And now they should be able to fight each other. And then if the one AI sees me, he will also want to fight me. So we're going to quickly go over their stats too while I got the video going. So let's go to the nice AI. Let's say we want him to be a whole lot stronger than the other one. So in the stats manager, let's set his health up to 200. Let's put the armor up to 5. Give him some critical chance. The attack speed up also. So you'll notice this character attacking quite a bit faster than the other one. Alright, and I'm going to end this first video here for now. In the next one, we'll take a look at changing some weapon montages and role montages. We'll add some text to the health bars and do a couple other little things that'll make the gameplay